Hey guys! So, today we are going to talk about TypeScript. Yes! So let's get into it. Now TypeScript, that's the word we're going to use, or the name. Anywho, TypeScript is a language on top of JavaScript. And basically what it allows you to do is that it allows you to add types to JavaScript. Ergo the name TypeScript. And apart from that, it's fully compliant with JavaScript as is, which means that it's an opt-in solution. If you added TypeScript to your stack today and you have it all written in vanilla JavaScript, it will work out of the box, pretty much. Now, why in the world would you do something like this? What possible reason could there be to add types or TypeScript to your stack? Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, when you start a project, things are fairly simple. On average, it depends on the projects, of course, but on average, the average project is fairly simple. Most of your projects are going to be a standard CRUD application of some sort, or something very similar. And even if you're like the best coder in the world, sooner or later you are going to grow in terms of complexity when it comes to your code, or possibly your project just stays the same. I mean, I've made tons of small libraries that I never touch them again. I build them, they do what they need to be doing, and then I just kind of forget about it. But then I have these projects, and I've worked in these projects where the code base, it kind of just grows. This happens especially in companies. And now I'm not talking about some small restaurant or some small business. I'm talking about enterprise stuff, talking about companies who are in IT. Like they actually have a product that is growing and it might become international or something of that nature. And you see, when the code base grows to a certain point, you will start to notice something. And the thing that you're going to notice is that your JavaScript is absolutely horrible. And you will say to me now, Frederick, no, we can fix it. I don't have that problem. We have never had that problem. Trust me, it will be horrible. If there is one constant in the world of IT, it is that JavaScript always decays. I have never ever worked in a non-trivial enterprise level application with JavaScript where it wasn't the main pain point for the company. Never, ever. I've never even talked to anybody who has said, yeah, our JavaScript is amazing. Never. So, what usually happens is that because you get to a certain point where you can't maintain the code anymore, you start to just hack things together. That's usually what happens in JavaScript land. So where does TypeScript come into all of this? Well, you see, guys, I argue that one of the major factors as to why, say, Java and C# and these sorts of languages are so immensely popular in the enterprise world. At really large scale, most companies use these languages. Why the reason for it, there are of course many reasons as to why this may be, but one of the main reasons I will argue is it's the typing system. Now, typing systems allow you to declare, as I've said in a few other videos, a set of rules that basically the system can conform to. In other words, instead of just having these primitive types of strings and numbers and so forth, because a string and a number, yeah, sure, semantically, in some situations, that's all it is. It might be any random number, it might be any random string, but usually you want to be able to express different data types that has a different semantic meaning to your system, like an email, a username, and so forth and so forth. And you have domain objects such as users, products, yada 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 yada. It can just grow from there. And the problem with JavaScript is that if you have a really large code base, since it's a loosely typed system, you cannot confidently make changes to that code. Because if you change, let's say that you have a very fundamental model, like a user Let's say that you wanted to change the shape of your user data in a really large system. Now you have to, after you change, say that you remove a field or rename it or whatever, now you have to search through the entire code base and find every single reference and every single piece of logic that is tied in to that structure. Because remember, if you have any code anywhere in the entire system that depends on the shape of that user object, you need to fix that, you need to update it. Most people find it so difficult to actually do that sort of thing that either it almost always causes regression bugs, or they simply add another field, or they try to avoid actually doing the refactor or changing something. And that's where TypeScript comes in. Because with TypeScript, you can make these changes because of the typing system. If you have a type system, you can actually figure out where all the references to that type is. It's actually one of, as I said, it's one of the major reasons as to why types are so important at scale. Because you don't think so when you start out. You don't think so when you have small projects that just live, say, a few months or something like that. But when you have a really large project that spans several years, you will get to a point where you are changing code more than you are adding code. Because adding code is always easy, guys. It's always easy to create a completely new service or a completely new object and just add it into an existing code base, because this is adding something is not, it's completely decoupled from all the other logic. You're adding something new. You don't have to think about, all right, if I change this, how is this tied into absolutely everything? Because you know it's not tied into anything. It's completely fresh. But when you change things, that's the scary part. And especially if you're not the person who wrote it. Maybe you have a third generation code base that has been maintained by several people, and maybe it's really complicated, and there's nobody really understands exactly how it works. And that's why the type system becomes so important, because with TypeScript you can actually confidently make changes to a really large application. And apart from that, the ecosystem is immense. TypeScript is used by so many large companies. So many of your favorite libraries are using it in order to maintain this typing system. I mean, Google uses it, Facebook, these projects use TypeScript for this exact reason, because it helps a lot to have types when you want to maintain a big project over time. So, when do you use TypeScript? Well, some people will tell you that you should always use TypeScript. And to a point I can agree. I can say that it's a very nice thing to, if the plan is to create an enterprise level application, something that's going to live for a long time, then yes, TypeScript is a nice way to go. I'm not saying that I wouldn't add it to my own personal little website. That doesn't fill all that much value. But if your plan is to create a Node.js application or a JavaScript application of some sort that is going to be big and most likely be worked on by several people, really consider TypeScript, guys. Because I can tell you right now, the big boys and girls in IT, the big project, they use this for a very good reason. Types are extremely powerful when you want to build something that is non-trivial. Have a great day.